So what I want to explore briefly is this is on our CB2 website. If you've not really ever paid attention to our version changes option, again, cb2.arizona.edu here, then go to the REDCap tab, which brings you here. Then look at version changes to see all the new features. Now, this was featured in your messenger. Vanderbilt had a big announcement about all this new feature, which is great. This is a nice one I didn't see coming, but I think I mentioned in one of the last red zones that I suspected something was about to happen because there hadn't been a new version release for a week or so, when that usually means that they're about to roll out something new. So whereas in the past you have had to use an external module to manage your multilingual options when you build a project, they finally have taken sort of the functionality that was built into the external module, and they have stuck it into REDCap out of the box now. So you can do multilingual and not have to worry about setting up external modules or, doing anything special or following the little box that pops up on the left. It all derives from within REDCap. So if you haven't seen it already, there's a new link in your applications called multi-language management. So if we click on this, we'll see that this is going to function fairly similar. I already went ahead and added English and Spanish. You start with a blank screen, and you want to add your languages, which includes English if that's what you're going to be using, which of course I think all of you are. And then you define what is your default language and your fallback language. So there is, I'm sure, a lot of functionality that I'm not fully aware of, but I want to do my best to walk you through this so it would get you started if you decide you want to create a multilingual project. So this works the same way generally as the external module. It wants you to define a language preference field. So you need to go into your designer, and then in like your screening form, the first field I'm going to add here will be, it has to be a radio button or drop down. I'll just do a drop down. No, I'll do a radio button. And let's say language, and create a variable name. I'm used to using languages because that's what the external module used, and then put your choices in there and save them. Okay, so once you do that, okay, so now I've got English and Spanish. If I vaguely remember when I did this before, I got that error pop up, and it was benign. It didn't seem to affect anything, but we'll go through this and see how this works out. So I'm going to go back to the multilingual management. Now that I have this field, it automatically grabbed languages and knows that that's the field that's supposed to be working along with the display names here. So you've really just started. And now if we go to forms and surveys, you're going to decide on an instrument level basis what instruments you want to be able to translate. So in the past, that translation option showed up on everything, every form, even if you didn't want it translated. So now you can pick the ones that you want. So if you want just the data entry form for the contact information in English, or you know, to be translated in English or Spanish, then you can do that. And the survey, you know, you don't need to have it on, and you can then pick fields that you want excluded from translation. So again, a lot more flexibility. In the past, you just didn't fill in that those boxes for the other language. But with this, you know, you would decide what you want. So this is English, and if you want Spanish, then you would say, yes, I want the contact information for Spanish here. And then you would translate these. Here are your fields. You translate all the options here rather than on the form itself. So again, a little different than how that worked previously. So this lets you translate each instrument, and as you add instruments, then you can translate this for data entry and translate it if you want it different for a survey. You have more flexibility. And then alerts, you can, in the past, you really couldn't easily translate all those little things like the email subject on a if you were sending out an alert and notification, or if you used the survey tool on the record itself. So if you're in a record, and we'll just open something here, and let's open one that's not filled in. And then, you know, you compose your survey invitations if you wanted, you know, something for email. You can change the language. Some of the better ones, though, are these miscellaneous ones. So, or the user interface. That's what I'm thinking of. So some of those dialogues, like the close button or the cancel, if you want to change how it translates for must provide value, you know, you can change that. And, you know, and these didn't exist with the multilingual external module. So there's a lot of, in that little reset button off to the right when you have option buttons, all of that, you know, you can now translate into Spanish, and you can go through and, you know, play around with all these different controls. So if you know, where at the top of the survey, it says click to increase font size. I mean, you can really make sure this is customized for a different language if that's what you want. So play around with this if you're doing anything with multilingual modules. There's some new action tags. We'll try and maybe take a look at those next week if we have time. But I just wanted to acquaint you with this new functionality, because a lot of you are building projects using multiple languages. And once you get the hang of this, this will be a lot easier to use than it's a lot more complete than the multilingual module.